Have you ever felt like we're living in a time where everything needs to be fast, easy, and painless, where discomfort is treated like trauma, effort feels like too much, and anything hard is labeled toxic? We're becoming emotionally fragile. According to the World Health Organization, Brazil has the highest anxiety rate in the world, and it's still growing. Harvard Business Review says Gen Z is already showing signs of burnout before 25. Not because they work more, but because they face less resistance. We live in the age of oversharing and overprotection. We're encouraged to avoid frustration, skip hard steps, and always choose the shortcut, even if it costs us our inner strength. But what if I told you there's an ancient code built centuries ago that teaches the opposite? A code that shaped men with discipline, purpose, and honor, even in times of war. This code isn't trending, it won't go viral. But maybe that's exactly why we need it now. What if you could learn to think like a samurai in the 21st century? Bushido literally means the way of the warrior. It's not just a philosophy, it's a way of life built on discipline, honor, and self-control. A quiet code that shaped how warriors faced the world. This code emerged in feudal Japan between the 9th and 12th centuries. It guided the samurai, the elite warrior class, not just in battle, but in how they lived, how they treated others, and how they made decisions. Bushido wasn't about aggression. It was about alignment. It taught how to stay firm without being cruel, how to act with courage without losing compassion, and how to stick to your values, even when no one's watching. Writer Inazo Nitobe described Bushido as the soul of Japan in his famous book Bushido, The Soul of Japan. It wasn't about following rules, it was about building character, and maybe that's what we're missing today, not more motivation, but a deeper foundation. Today, we live in a world that avoids discomfort at all costs. Pain is the enemy. Effort feels like punishment. But what happens to a culture that runs from the very things that build strength? We traded courage for convenience, honor for image, discipline for dopamine. The 7 pillars of Bushido: righteousness, courage, compassion, respect, sincerity, honor, and loyalty might sound outdated now. But maybe that's exactly what's missing. A Pew Research study found that 67% of young people avoid difficult conversations out of fear of being judged. The result? We get fragile relationships, unstable confidence, and lives led by the need for approval. Bushido taught the opposite. That discomfort shapes character, that pain can be purposeful, that values don't bend to comfort. Maybe modern weakness isn't a lack of ability, but a lack of direction, a missing code, and that's where Bushido becomes more than history. It becomes a compass. The first pillar of Bushido is Gi, righteousness. Doing what's right, even when no one's watching, even when there's no applause, even when it costs you something. Today, we're taught to do what works, not what's right. We live in optimization mode. But character isn't measured by outcomes. It's measured by consistency. A samurai's sense of righteousness wasn't just an idea, it was a daily decision. It shaped the way they acted, spoke, and treated others, even their enemies. Think about someone you deeply admire. Chances are, they stand for something. They don't need a rule book. They are the rule book. Doing what's right is often slower. It's lonelier, but it builds the invisible spine that holds you up when everything else around you falls apart. The second pillar is you, courage, but not the loud kind, not the kind that seeks attention. It's the quiet strength to keep going, even when you're scared, even when you don't know what's coming. Samurai courage wasn't reckless, it was focused. It was the ability to stay present. When everything inside said, run, today we run from anything that feels like failure, from risk, from rejection, But without facing it, there's no growth, only stagnation. According to Sibre, 75% of young entrepreneurs give up after their second failure, not because they lack talent, but because they fear falling again. Bushido taught that fear isn't the enemy. Avoiding fear is. Courage is moving forward even when you're not ready, because in the end, the path only reveals itself to the one who keeps walking. The third pillar is Jin, compassion. Sounds unexpected in a warrior's code, doesn't it? But for the samurai, true strength was knowing when not to use the sword. Compassion isn't weakness, it's control, it's power held back with purpose. In today's world, everyone wants to win, but few stop to understand. Without empathy, victory is empty. A samurai who spared an enemy wasn't soft. He was wise, because mastering others takes strength, but mastering yourself is true power. Compassion is seeing others clearly and still standing strong in who you are. The fourth pillar is Rei, respect. Samurai were trained to show dignity, even toward enemies. Respect wasn't a courtesy, it was a foundation. In today's world, we confuse aggression with power. But real strength doesn't need to shout, it leads by example. A samurai's respect came from discipline, from understanding that every person, even in conflict, carries a story. Being firm doesn't mean being cruel. In fact, the more grounded the warrior, the gentler his presence. Respect isn't about lowering yourself, it's about not needing to humiliate anyone, to feel elevated. The fifth pillar is Makoto, sincerity. To a samurai, your word was as sharp as your sword. Saying something meant you were ready to live by it. Today, we lie to please. We hide the truth to avoid conflict. We filter everything to fit in. But that comes with a cost. It disconnects who we are from what we show. Sincerity in Bushido was radical, not just with others, but with yourself. It meant facing your truth, even when it hurt. When you're sincere, you don't carry the weight of pretending. You don't have to remember what you said, because everything you say is real. The sixth pillar is Meiyo, honor. But don't confuse it with fame or praise. To the samurai, honor was invisible. It was the one thing no one could take, because it came from within. While many lived to be seen, the samurai lived to be solid. Today, we're judged by followers, likes, and image. But honor isn't built on a stage. It grows in silence. When you do the right thing with no one watching, Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's greatest swordsman, once said, "Let no dishonorable act stain your spirit, even when you're alone. Honor is the reputation you hold in your own heart." The seventh pillar is Chugi, loyalty. For the samurai, loyalty wasn't blind obedience, it was commitment to a purpose, to a path, to your own integrity. Today, we switch directions at the first sign of struggle. We jump from idea to idea, from relationship to relationship. But without loyalty, everything stays shallow. The samurai understood that staying isn't always easy. But giving up too quickly is also giving up on who you could become. Loyalty is about being consistent, about showing up even when no one else sees you. It means staying true to the person you chose to be. Maybe you're thinking, isn't all of this just old wisdom from another time? It might seem that way, but the truth is, the challenges we face today aren't that different. People still feel lost, still search for meaning, still fight silent battles every day. What's changed is the noise. Now we have more distractions and fewer anchors. The 7 pillars of Bushido act like a compass. They won't fix everything, but they keep you centered. While the world spins faster and louder, in times of emotional crisis, shallow values and fragile identities, returning to timeless principles is revolutionary. True strength was never about weapons. It was always about values, and maybe now more than ever, it's time to awaken the silent warrior within you. You don't need to wear armor, but you can start training your inner posture. Here are 4 simple ways to begin. Choose one non-negotiable principle, something you'll stand for, no matter how hard it gets. Practice small acts of courage. Say what you really think. Face what you've been avoiding. Be honest with yourself. Drop the stories you use to stay comfortable. Commit to a mission. It doesn't have to be big, just meaningful, and stick with it. Modern life pushes you to move fast. Bushido asks you to move with direction, and when you have direction, the storm doesn't matter. You keep walking. The samurai didn't speak much. He just moved with clarity. He didn't chase attention. He chased alignment. In fragile times, people who live with strength feel out of place, but maybe they're exactly what the world needs. Less noise, more presence, less rush, more purpose. You don't need to win every day, but you do need to show up whole, with courage in your chest, honor in your actions, and loyalty to what matters most. In the end, living like a samurai isn't living in the past. It's living with roots, because when the world collapses around you, if you carry a code inside you, you stay standing.